Time now to get to the story and develop the character that's going to be in that story. Storytelling is something that is being used quite a bit these days in marketing, in creation, in innovation, where we try to see the overall experience that people will be experiencing with the product, if you're developing a product, for example. But of course, in a creation, the story is fundamental. That's the conducting wire that connects everything from the beginning to the end, and everybody is attached to the story at one point to do a certain things at a certain time. Whether you're a costume designer, you need to bring a certain costume. A lighting designer, you need to bring a certain light. So everybody needs to contribute to the story in a certain way. But for that, we need to understand what's going to be that story. Now, the level of the story at this stage is not like a script where you describe everything that gets said and detailed everything. We're not there yet. Okay, what we are looking more is like a synopsis of the story, basically saying where is the story happening and what period of time. Is it in the future? Is it in the past? Who are the different character, the good character, the bad character, and then what do they have to go through over time? And it could be love, it could be dramatic, it could be ludic, it could be romantic, it could be like very emotional. So all of this, goes through different adventure or different events, and then finish with an end that could be a good end, it could be a bad end. Typically in a creation, you try to finish it with a good end. But, some that could finish with, a drama at the end. So the point is, the artistic people, they will find the best story out of the inspiration, out of the legend that they have heard, out of everything that they've listened so far, also in line with what, the goal is to. So, for example, if one of the goals is to target the kids, we might not bring a very, ancient Greek story to the kids that won't understand it. So has to be a connection also with the audience. So this whole connection of the story will depend of everything we've done before. Okay, so that's why, understanding the business, understanding the market, understanding the requirements from everybody, and getting inspired, getting the image, getting all the sense, the sketches help us to figure out that's the story we're going to use there. In the story, we're going to bring certain characters, some that are good, some are bad. So the idea is not to bring all the character, because you're going to maybe add some as you go, as you're going to find out. Because that story is going to get refined as you move. You might find certain things that you didn't thought at the beginning that you could put in the story that would make sense. So character will be added, maybe character will be removed. But at the end of the day, we need a set of character that says those will be the main characters, those will be the support character, and this is the way we see them. And typically it would come in the form of sketches, and also a description of the character itself, what kind of person that it will be. Is it somebody that is a very alpha type, strong and fighter, or somebody that is very more like a psychologic type of person, or somebody that is very funny, or it's somebody that is more like fatty in his style and kind of enjoying life. So we'll put a more description of what these characters do, how do they contribute to the story, so it helps later on people understanding, okay, so we need to build a story, and the story will have these folks coming in and doing a certain activity at one point in order to value the story and coming out at the end with the final result. So of course with the story comes act and scene. Okay, so there's a big difference between act and scene. Act usually would be like a period where you would have many scenes in there, and it would have like a first demarcation of the drama that, for example, you have. If it's a drama, will be a first key demarcation, and you don't have that many act. For example, on a play or on a theater show or a circus show, you would have like 2, 3, maybe 4 acts, but they will have a certain change from one act to a act in terms of the tone, in terms of the level of intensity, and it will be like a big subset of the old story that you will have. The scene will be a lot more faster, shorter, and will go and be in line with the act. So an act might have many scenes, and a scene might be a few minutes, a few seconds sometimes, but there will be many scenes within an act, and therefore you need also to start describing the scene. You might not describe all the scene because you don't know everything yet, but certain scenes within the act is going to be important, so for people to understand what do you try to achieve during that act, which is part of the story. So this process, okay, is very well taught in theater school, in acting school, in movie making school. So all of this, describing story, act, and scene, all of this there's a lot of material on that. If you are interested by that, I suggest you get a class especially on that. I'm not an expert. I work with people that they are expert of breaking that down. I just know how to look at them, but personally as executive producer, I don't create the story, the acts, and the different scene there. This is not your role. Your role is to make sure it gets done by your initial creative team. So we got a package that we could bring in front of the executive that they could look at it and understand what are we trying to achieve there.